Howdy. Welcome to the channel. Uh, Much thanks for watching. It'd be an absolute joy to listen to this old geezer talk and talk. But I got a few things to say, and you might want to hear them. And I hope you listen until you hear enough to disagree with me at least. Thanks to Nestle and Big Linux and YouTube and its educational videos. Without which I don't know what to do with myself. Um, Topic today is from checkers to religion to mystic to science. And it's my journey. Um, and it's my way of thinking. And how I got to, well, it's not all about me, how I got to where I am today in my thinking, and where you might be as well, uh, but maybe from a different angle. Um, my way of thinking, when I was a kid, I loved to play checkers. I was never very good at it, but I did love to play. And I played chess, but even worse at that. No genius here. But it annoyed me that the checkerboard, when, should, called a checkerboard, why it's got all those empty squares? I mentioned this before in some video. That's how I'm like, eh. And so I decided, I needed to get rid of the extra squares, the fluff, the stuff that really wasn't necessary. And so I did. I got rid of them, and all you had to do was change the rules a bit. You cross over the lines instead of the points. You got checkers, right? Yeah. So, all right. And then the wisdom hit me that, you know, the reason the checkerboard was that way is so you could also play chess. you know, oh, these people are pretty smart. It's anyway. That's how I think. Get rid of the fluff. You know, doubt the things that come your way, and try to believe. Well, believe. Try to make your best bets according to what made sense and what was not fluff that seemed to be predictive or at least rational. And I would say rational to given certain conditions. So I didn't rise above the conditions at first. I was really went to religion. My family was very religious, and the whole deal there was the Bible's perfect, and it's a blueprint for how the church should be. And we got pulled into the biggest fallacy of all, is making assumptions and then arguing from there without ever questioning the assumptions. So anyway, but that was Church of Christ, and so we became Church of Christ, which was a pretty boring experience because it was the non-musical brand. It wasn't mentioned in the Bible, so but that appealed to me. I mean, cutting out the fluff. It was a rational kind of approach, given the assumptions. And so it says, oh, okay. So, I was very avid with that because supposedly, with those assumptions, there are people who did not do the, follow along properly, that we're going to go to a terrible place. So, the thing I never, was a conflict for me as a child was that, oh, I got to tell everybody. And they're going, no, 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 this is not appropriate, They kind of knew, didn't they? That it was, but as a child, I'm like, wow. I got to make sure everybody gets dunked in the water just the way you say it should go, like, yeah, yeah. So, stayed that way for a while. Experimented with ESP, as a child. You hear about that, you experiment, Some weird things happened that I couldn't really explain, but it was interesting. And then, it was like, hey, my dad checked out all of the Christian stuff and came to his conclusion. I says, but there's a lot of other religions out there, so I should try all of those. Take a look at them. So that's what it did. And I traveled, hitchhiked around, which would not have been possible had I not had bad feet and had to leave the Navy and lose out on all that education. Anyway, I educate myself, so I'd go out and try to join religions because I wanted to have the experience. That was more important to me than so and so begat so and so. This is the way. I wanted to get, to the experience of the thing. What attracts people to this religion? Why and what sense does it make? And I looked at things in patterns and says, well, this is a similar pattern to this and this and this. And I had some unusual experiences there that I couldn't quite explain. And the last was returning back again. New look at Christianity, which was spirit filled. And we were young, to me, I'm 70, people in their 20s are like babies. But anyway, easily fooled, actually, I think as well. Get carried away. That's they're still being trained to survive in life. They're still kids till they're 35, being an absolute children. After that, it's still childish. That goes on for quite a while. Then some people begin to think for themselves, and some never do. Never get past that stage. But yeah, a lot of childish people in the world. And they are. I'd like to think I've 70. I moved a bit beyond being as childish as I might otherwise be without effort. But is there effort? Is there free will? See, and that is what kind of brought me out of thing. It was the study was there's this thing outside of you that was the mystic kind of experience was trying to get with something bigger than you. How do I relate to the big picture, to everything, to the everything? Of course, and the theist thing is there's a creator. So how do you relate to that? And So, yeah, so you're talking to that, and all before, of course, it was never, with ESP, you get this sense of, you personify things, and you get this sense of knowledge coming in from wherever. And it had to be some kind of person type creatures or something giving it to you. That's, the tendency, to think like that. And went through that, and then it was the God thing. When God, you just like, you know, some kind of motivation in your head or something, but not, maybe occasional hint of things to come. That was reported by a lot of people, and okay, but finally, looking at it from the mystic point of view, I mean, it's like, well, it was a transition. We were in their 20s, and they told us if you spoke with love, that that would be, that's interesting. Love is the will of God, so, supposedly. So, all right, we'll go along with that. And then this said, well, if you have faith, then maybe it'll be God speaking through you. Really? So we were playing with that, and weird things happened to me that I cannot explain. Really, some of it I could figure out a way to explain it away. Some of it I couldn't. But finally, I came to the conclusion that I just had to leave it there. There's no evidence of anything. I don't understand what happened. I mean, I don't even know how to frame it. So, it's like, hmm. And of course, what is God? What is that? Why assume that? Is it fluff? Got to get rid of the fluff if it's not necessary to explaining anything and doesn't relate to anything. Then how is it real? So that was an occurrence to me as I grew. So I'm going. I still can't. I can't explain, the things that happened. I mean, like I say, there's God in your head, and then God that you talk to, and you go. The next crazy is you think you hear in some way this God like love, talking to you. Well, whether or not that's true, I mean, I just in any sense, it really doesn't make any sense because the message has to come through your brain. I mean, there's something in your brain. I mean, or else you wouldn't be experiencing anything that you're thinking of as if it were a voice, which it never was a voice. So, literally, but gee, isn't that your brain? Um, so when we're joining to that which is greater, aren't we joining to how we imagine that greater to be? And of course, that is not a literally true thing. A lot of holes in how we imagine things to be. So, so the mystic seeks for that which is greater. I see the patterns. I see what they're calling their God or their higher self, and I'm going, that's the brain. It knows what you're going to decide before you are aware of having made the decision. And they did experiments with that, with the NDEs. I mean, it's brain, it's not dead yet. Brain, and the the experiment where the guy, it's kind of I think a fairly recent thing, but I'd never heard of it recently. It's the brain has this gives you there's a part of it that gives you a sense of where you are in space, and if you suppress that, person has an out of body experience, and you stop the suppression, pop them back into their body. It's like nothing miraculous about that particularly, and so and but then you run into them saying that the smallest, that it's like elements of consciousness are at the root of reality. Well, I don't know. I'm not above my pay grade, but if it is, um, okay, that that yeah, might explain some of the weird experiences that I had. That there could be some kind of consciousness that is outside of the brain. And there's some things that seem to be evidence of that having occurred. But then you don't know why it happened, and the brain tries to make sense of whatever you're going through. So it's you can't trust that entirely. So that kind of left religion behind. The mystic part of me that went from you talk to God, maybe you get inspired by God or something, to wow, you could imagine this God and speak for him. So yeah, well, and it's not an active conscious imagining. The brain will just come up with amazing stuff, for whatever you need. It's like up there, what do you need? I'll make this for you. Okay. So there's this weird relationship, and that's the mysticism. This relationship of our dramatic self, which is a bit of an illusion, and this our brain. That's this amazing perspective and processing element in ourselves. So that's mysticism all the way to science. Science feeds on mystery. Where there's a mystery, science tries to explain it. If it can't explain it and it doesn't relate to anything that we can uh, predict, either in the past or the future, it's highly doubtful. And it's true, any theory in science is true to the degree that it works in doing that for us accurately. That means there's a lot of fuzzy there. I mean, yeah, and there's points at which a theory just doesn't work. The theory of relativity works for big stuff. I'm just like a parrot, giving back the words of brighter minds, which makes you wonder about thinking and how much of it is thinking and how much of it is parroting. But anyway, the very small, as I've been told, it didn't explain that. They had to have a probabilistic kind of explanation. But the fact that things are probabilistic doesn't mean they are not deterministic. It means that we don't know enough to make that, for it to be seen as determined. You know, the fact that we can't make those ties doesn't mean that there's free will, etc. So you can see that it's not a depressing sort of thing. I mean, at first, you people like to be in their comfort zone, and that might be very religious. Okay, but and it might not. It might be other kind of illusionary kind of experiences. We have a lot of those. And people be or seem depressed about that. But the thing is, it's very fascinating. It can keep you entertained, and really, there's in the Bhagavad Gita, there's this depiction of the brain as the Param Atma. Uh, that's how I look at that mythology. It's all about the dramatic self relating to the brain, that which imagines our world for us. It is the creator of our universe as we imagine it. There's that tendency to say there has to be a creator. Are we sensing the brain is there? It's doing the creation, and we're just extrapolating from that that's in the real world. Yeah, the real world meaning something outside of your imagination that is true. Yeah, well, our imagination get closer and closer to reality, so there's maybe that statement's a little off, but anyway, but relating to this, I mean, it's also the supreme controller. It's called Krishna dwelling within you is Paramatma. This is a Vaishnava Hindu, dualistic. There's other beliefs, but there's monism and other things. But anyway, it seemed like the brain, that the brain would be the one that's giving the messages of pleasure, the supreme enjoyer, the supreme self, part of you that's actually doing the thinking and the imagining. Yeah, that's a hookup. That seems to be a pattern, matching of what's said in the mythology and what might be explained. Yeah, I didn't thank Nestle when I started this video. I'm drinking Nestle. Chocolate. The chocolate version, yeah. Yeah, even good without the milk. Yeah, yeah, and I've never been a great fan of milk. It's good for you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I can have my chocolate without it, so that's just fine. Anyway, that's my path, and I wish you well on your journey. But what, and who are the greatest What's the greatest mystics in the world? Scientists who are studying the brain. Yeah, and the nature of the self. Huh? Isn't that what the Bhagavad Gita is yammering about? Yeah, and what religion seems to be an extrapolation from. So, looking at that, wow. And it's not depressing, it's like, it's a constant journey into mystery. What can be depressing about that? Um, it's you do that and you're enjoying. It's like they have this ritual with Krishna where they will offer food to the brain, right? You're going to offer food to the higher self, the Krishna deity, which is really a statue or something. And they offer that. Wow, think about it. That's fun, and they do that, and then they dance, dance for the well. When you're doing things for your brain, for this unimaginable, almost well, difficult to imagine, and impossible to fully imagine, I think, brain, you're savoring what it is that you're eating or whatever, because they offer the food first to Krishna and then they eat it. You give thanks to God for the food you're eating. The divine is entered into your food. Yeah, but you're savoring the food. It's much more enjoyable. Instead of thinking about your next, you know, sporting event or whatever while you're eating, you're just eating, and you're savoring it, which is a little bit more than just mindfulness. You eat, only eat. That can be kind of boring. Anyway, but if you do kind of offering to your brain that mystery, well, you're really relishing the food. And if you're inspired by that mystery, uh, to create music or to dance or whatever, wow, why not? Because you are savoring all of the enjoyable things that you do and that you experience. So that's a mystic. That is what a mystic does. At least according to the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, that's my definition of a mystic. And the best mystics around are scientists. You just add that little element, and you know, and the objectivity, the enjoyment of thinking. Yeah, which, by the way, they kill in the schools. Rote learning. Memorization. Memorization's not so fun. And with the sort of Damocles hanging over your head, you get it wrong. The test. It's anxiety provoking. And guess what? Anxiety gets in the way of what? Thinking. So, we are dumbing down our children in our schools. I'm going to leave with. I'm not trying to depress anybody, but we can do better. See, the thing is, we can always do better. We can always imagine things better. And the mystery is still there. The joy of the mystery, whatever, it's always there. And it's more meaningful if you take a scientific approach. Much more meaningful. You're finding connections and understanding. So, you want an enjoyable life, be a scientist, but appreciate the mystery which fires the powers of science, the power of science, I should say. Yeah, mystery and science, they go together. The more scientific you are, the more you appreciate mystery, the more you appreciate mystery, well, you want to explain it, the more scientific you can become. So, in the end, and this is my word to the Unitarian Universalist Church, is that, hey, that's where you're going. Hurry up. You're almost there. You're almost there. Go all the way. Combine your mysticism and science together. They are really good companions. Yeah. And the more you move in that direction, the less religious you are. Because religion is boring. Religion is like rote learning. It's a comfort zone. You're comforted by it. Ignorance is bliss, and not hardly bliss, but comforting. You think you've got it figured out. So there's always something going on in your life, um, which is your drama, and you try to stay in a comfort zone of it. Just part of survival. You're trying to keep the anxiety down, a manageable level. But to really enjoy life, you have to move outside of your comfort zones to some extent. That's when I'm talking about the empathies. The empathy is the comfort, but the form of empathy, objective, creative, compassionate, calls you out of your comfort zone at some point. You could be more voice, you could be more compassionate, you could be more objective, you could be more creative. But that moves you out of your comfort zone. So the IMC, the inner mind communication, philosophy and theory, is all about staying in your comfort zone enough, but expanding it gradually so that you can enjoy life more. And that also is through science, the science of this approach. You unlearn helplessness and you're more empowered. And taking the view of your life from the brain, from the part of you that seems to be able to observe or imagine your timeline. So it's kind of a timeless kind of position to be in, and you're observing time. So in your life, it's a story, and no matter what's going on from that perspective, you can enjoy it. You can have one part of you that's actually enjoying, maybe even your misery, because you can watch almost any kind of a movie and you can enjoy it, at some level, some form. It doesn't take you too far of your comfort zone. So that's a valuable perspective to have, and it isn't at all inhibited by a scientific mind. But the more you're expanding your comfort zone, through objectivity, creativity, and compassion. Um, well, it's also how you you become more virtuous. These all relate to the drama. What is the ultimate goal of the inner mind communication? Well, it's to have your drama, but not let your drama have you. You know? So, that's just it. If you're outside of the drama, you can experience your drama and process it better because you're in a safe place outside. And I think that's near-death experience thing is you can produce similar effects if a person thinks they're going to die. Yeah, they've done that. They've done that experiment. And yeah, so the brain takes you to a safe place, which if you're in bad enough pain and all that, not in your body. So you imagine yourself outside. And what do you find outside? This great love, this great feeling of love and so on. And the light. Yeah, comfort. So you don't have to wait until you're scared to death to embrace this creative side of you and experience the heaven or the bliss of that perspective. So that's the journey. Checkers to religion, to mysticism, to science. So be a scientist and enjoy life. And as the great mythologist Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Just told you what it meant. Taking the perspective of the creative empathy in your mind and relating to that. Because that part of you calls you to be the hero in that story. The hero of love. And love is connection. Connection with others, yourself, and with your brain. So, I'm saying, I'm not saying there isn't something else going on there that I don't know about, can't explain. Oh, probably there is. And I can't explain, how people or how I knew things I couldn't reasonably know. But it's not necessary to draw unnecessary conclusions from experience. That'll only get in the way. So to you, hats off to your spiritual growth and health. And goodbye from New York. Yeah. And that creative brain in me, the curtains have been removed. I'd like to honor that magnificent brain in you. Stay.